And welcome back to Dodgy's Garage. Hopefully you can hear me amongst all the noise that goes on here in this place. I don't have my little camera mate, I don't know what happened with that. Update. I'm working on the trike at the moment and I've pulled it apart because the chain was having a problem. It was too slack and it was almost jumping over the front cog. So I thought, and I didn't want to drive it because, or ride it because, alright, so that cut out there for some reason, I don't know why, but anyway, the reason was, the chain was too, I didn't want to ride it because the chain was so slack. The last time I did that, it actually broke and curled up inside the front housing and broke it all. And Darren had to fix all that before he could get it running again, so that was a pain in the ass. So we decided to take one link and one elbow out, and it ended up being a gap that big from one link and one elbow, and we just couldn't figure out why it had gone so far. And I bought a couple of can you not? What are you doing? This is why I'll play at work. Because the stupid cats, look, just don't want to leave me alone. Get your butt out. So we had to try and, so I got some couple of links, different ones, because I wasn't sure what the chain was, because it was a Chinese chain. Yeah. So we ended up getting a couple of links and trying to figure out how to close up a gap like that, just taking out one link and an elbow. And this is the whole deal of this going through this, is why the hell is it changing so much? And trying to, because there's no adjustment on the axle to move it forward enough to put the chain on, and we couldn't put the chain on. So this is the whole thing of trying to adjust the axle to move forward, because on the actual bearing cases for the axle that holds up, because they're cast, you can't drill them out too far because of the actual casing, and it'll crack. So it's like, well, if I can't use the casing and move that forward, how am I supposed to do it? And this is the process of what we had to do, and it took way too long. You'll see. We're going to slot these forward, so that way we've got just a little bit, because we put the chain back on, and I had to, oh, what is this thing doing? There we go. I couldn't get the chain on because it was so that big a gap. So I put the link in and that, put it half over the cog, and then turned the back wheel until it rolled over the cog, so it was actually on. And that made it so tight that it would not move. It kind of just, everything was too tight. Even after we'd loosened it, just that little bit there wasn't enough. Absolute pain in the ass. So we thought, well, we're going to have to make more room. So that's why we thought, well, we'll see what's in there. So I've just pulled all this off. I had to grind that up a bit because these welds were absolutely shocking. And that's when we found that that wasn't enough. So now we're going to have to, I haven't got the stuff here today, we've got a Dremel type thing, and we're going to make these slotted just a little bit more, probably half that, so another 5 mil, I'd say, probably another, I haven't got anything to point with, thanks to Darren for giving me this to actually get the thing off, chain off. So probably go from where that is at the end there, probably just go to there. So like an extra, what's that, 10 mil? I reckon, now that's 4 holes, plus the other side, so that's 8 times we've got to do that and hopefully get them the right length. But yeah, hopefully that 10 mil will be enough, or 1 centimetre, will be enough that it'll give slack on the chain. Now, I don't know if that chain has stretched to the max at the moment, or if it's still got some stretching to do, because then that's fine. But at the moment I don't know if that's stretched to the max, in which case that little 10 mil is probably that's all it'll ever have. It won't stretch no more. So then that will stay it is, but there's absolutely no movement in that chain at all. It is so tight, nothing will actually turn over properly. I'm trying to push this forward and it's just binding, it's just so tight. So I reckon an extra centimetre should give it enough tension or loosen enough that it's got the proper, 1 inch of spring travel and enough that it's loose. So that's what we're thinking at the moment. Can't hit your buttons. So we're hoping that'll be enough. It starts and runs now. We did have a problem with the, it wouldn't run. We found out what it was. Tilt switch, missing. Don't ask me where it went, but it wasn't there. So the tilt switch was actually missing out of it. It was unplugged, it was gone. That's why it wouldn't run. So we've got another tilt switch and now it runs. But now that it runs, I try to drive it and you can feel the chain kind of almost going over the cog. It was that loose, there was so much play, you felt like it was going to start going over that cog and that would create all sorts of problems. So I thought, I'll just take a link out. No. So, here is where we are at the moment. I had to get a forklift to lift it up, the sling, but as we did, this thing was starting to move. The weight is just, so it's on axle stands at the moment, but basically, apart from the caliper sitting on there, those are the only thing holding it together. But it works quite well. So it has got rear brakes, it has got a front brake. So if I can slot that and hopefully get enough clearance on that chain so it actually has a little bit of play, this is ready to go. It runs, it drives, it's just the chain is a bit of a problem. So once this is fixed, I don't have any crush tubes to go in there, which I would like to have, but we don't have any. Bit of a pain, I know, but what do you do? Put them in? No, I don't do that. So basically, yeah, now that I own this, it's going to be a pain in the ass. I can see it. I think it's losing a bit of all the brake fluid, I don't know. But yeah, just get that chain. Actually, no, this wasn't where. Oh, this is where the Triumph was sitting. So now that I've ground all the bird shit off of it and made it enough room, because I've got to put spring washers in there just to give it a bit of circumference to grip on so it doesn't actually pull through, which is why you'd probably need crush tubes. But I think that'll do it. And the other thing was on the Vulcan, when I went for the country ride, the chain was drying out and catching and it wouldn't bend. So instead of bending or as it goes around, it was kind of like crunching. I've ordered a new front and rear sprocket and chain. That should be coming hopefully this week. We sprayed it and loosened it all up, so it is loose. I did ride it into work today. And my boss took my Marauder home so his young boys could use it for their license, but they reckon it's too small. Considering they both have 650 cruisers now, that is too small for them. So, what? Apparently, yeah, too small. And Darian's doing an oil service in his. So that's an update on everything at the moment with bikes, because I haven't bothered to do any cars because I'm doing the freaking bikes. The other two big ones are at home. They're sitting there getting covered in muck, so. But, yeah, and I've still got that red scooter which I haven't put back together. It's fixed, but I haven't put it back together, so I got to do that. But I want this thing done first because I was going to take it to a car show. Luckily, half the car shows have been postponed because of the hurricane or for the rain that came after the tropical cyclone, whatever her name was. So I've got another few weeks before the next Big Boys Toys, I think, coming on at Motorplex, and I want to take this down there and have it running and riding around. So I've got to get this thing done. Anyway, that will do it. Just a short update, and hopefully I can get this thing, hopefully you can hear me, hopefully I can get this thing put together and working by the end of the week, probably tomorrow. And then, yes, shove it in the back of the van. That's where it stays until I take it to a show. And that'll do it. That's all I can do. So, yeah. Alright, I'll leave it there and that'll do me. Catch us next time. Do the thingies and We'll see you around. Hooroo!